The story of Moses is a timeless epic, revered across generations and cultures. It is a tale not only of miracles and divine intervention but also of human resilience, courage, and the triumph of faith over oppression. Moses' journey from a helpless infant floating on the Nile to a powerful leader who liberated an entire nation embodies the eternal struggle for freedom and justice. Let us embark on this profound journey, exploring the life and legacy of Moses, the servant of the Lord and the liberator of the Israelites. Long ago, the people of Israel had found refuge in Egypt, flourishing in the land under the protection of Joseph, the great-grandson of Abraham. Joseph's wisdom and foresight saved Egypt from a devastating famine, earning him a position of honor in Pharaoh's court. Because of Joseph, the Israelites were treated with respect and gratitude. Over generations, they grew in number and influence, fulfilling God's promise to Abraham that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars. However, as years turned to centuries, the memory of Joseph's deeds faded. A new pharaoh ascended the throne, a ruler who knew nothing of Joseph's legacy and viewed the growing Hebrew population as a threat to Egypt's stability. He feared that the Israelites might rise against Egypt or ally with its enemies. Pharaoh's solution was to enslave the Hebrews, forcing them into backbreaking labor to build Egypt's cities and monuments. Yet, despite their suffering, the Israelites continued to multiply. This enraged Pharaoh, who sought to crush their spirit and curb their growth. He decreed that all newborn Hebrew boys were to be killed, throwing them into the Nile River. This decree sent waves of terror through the Hebrew community, but even amidst the darkness, acts of courage and faith emerged. Among the Hebrews was a woman from the tribe of Levi, who refused to surrender her newborn son to Pharaoh's decree. For 3 months, she hid the baby, risking her life to protect him. When hiding him became impossible, she crafted a basket from reeds, coated it with pitch to make it watertight, and entrusted her child to the river, praying that God would guide him to safety. The baby's sister, Miriam, followed the basket as it floated down the Nile. By divine providence, the basket came to rest near where Pharaoh's daughter was bathing. Seeing the basket, the princess ordered her servants to retrieve it. When she opened it, she was moved by the sight of the crying infant. Despite knowing he was a Hebrew child, she decided to adopt him, naming him Moses, meaning, drawn out of the water. Miriam approached the princess and offered to find a nurse for the child. Unbeknownst to Pharaoh's daughter, the nurse she brought was the baby's own mother. Thus, Moses was raised with the love of his biological family while growing up amidst the luxury and privilege of Pharaoh's court. As Moses matured, he became aware of his heritage and the plight of his people. One day, while witnessing an Egyptian overseer brutally beating a Hebrew slave, Moses was overcome with anger. He struck and killed the overseer, hiding the body in the sand. When the act was discovered, Pharaoh sought to kill Moses, forcing him to flee Egypt and abandon his life of privilege. Moses fled to the land of Midian, where he encountered the daughters of Jethro, a priest, being harassed by shepherds at a well. Moses intervened, defending the women and helping them water their flocks. Grateful, Jethro welcomed Moses into his household and eventually gave him his daughter Zipporah in marriage. Moses settled in Midian, leading a quiet life as a shepherd and raising a family. Yet, his destiny was far from fulfilled. Meanwhile, the Israelites suffering under Egyptian oppression grew unbearable. They cried out to God, who remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God chose Moses to be his instrument of deliverance. One day, while tending his flock near Mount Horeb, Moses saw a miraculous sight, a bush ablaze with fire yet not consumed. Approaching the bush, Moses heard God's voice calling his name. God revealed his plan to free the Israelites and tasked Moses with leading them out of Egypt. Overwhelmed by doubt, Moses questioned his ability to fulfill such a monumental task. He protested, citing his lack of eloquence and fear of Pharaoh's power. But God reassured Moses, demonstrating his divine power by turning Moses' staff into a serpent and then back into a staff. God also promised that Aaron, Moses' brother, would act as his spokesman. Strengthened by these assurances, Moses returned to Egypt, determined to fulfill God's command, Moses and Aaron gathered the leaders of the Israelites, performing the miraculous signs God had shown them. The people believed that Moses was chosen by God to deliver them. Together, Moses and Aaron confronted Pharaoh, delivering God's command, "Let my people go." Pharaoh, however, hardened his heart and refused. To demonstrate his power, God unleashed a series of plagues upon Egypt. From the rivers turning to blood to swarms of locusts in a darkness so thick it could be felt, Egypt suffered under God's wrath. Yet Pharaoh remained defiant until the final plague, the death of every Egyptian firstborn. Only then did Pharaoh relent, allowing the Israelites to leave. Under Moses' leadership, the Israelites began their journey to freedom. They crossed the Red Sea, guided by God's presence as a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. Moses would lead them through the wilderness, where they would receive the 10 Commandments and be forged into a nation chosen by God. The story of Moses is more than a historical account, it is a testament to the power of faith, the importance of leadership, and the enduring hope for freedom. It teaches us that even in the darkest of times, the light of divine purpose can guide us to a brighter future. Moses' journey inspires us to stand against oppression, to trust in our destiny, and to believe in the miracles that faith can bring. So, let us remember the story of Moses not just as a tale from the past but as a beacon of hope and resilience for our present and future.